Hello, welcome to Advertising Report Card. This is Michael Ensor, and today we are doing a report card on the plumbing industry, specifically for RooterMan in Muncie, Indiana. This is a really interesting report card to kind of segue immediately into the focus because this is a franchise. There's opportunity that's great that also comes with limitation as a franchisee. While you have a brand behind you that is already validated and already has marketing material that you can use, there's also limitations, things that you can and cannot change, things that you will and will not have access to. So this report card is geared towards that exact need. What can we do without having access to everything? What if we can't edit the website? What if we can only add certain types of tracking? What if we can't use certain assets? So this dives into not only this company's ability to do that, but also its four major national competitors. So unlike a lot of the local business focuses that we've done, the focus strictly on that local business component, this ties in the rest of that as well. So a quick reminder on how the report card works. We have a very structured approach from what we go through. We dig through everything. We ask questions. We do research. We look through subcategories of products, and we pull everything together that we can find that will give us an edge in a market. And the benefit to that is we don't want to have a surface level blueprint. We want to actually have something that's actionable that once you're done watching this video, you can put this type of thing into action and make it work for you. Also, the assets are linking to the reports that we have built for you. We're going to go through all those on this video, but there are about a dozen individual reports that we've compiled. So the main goals for this, again, is to cover all the channels. So not just search and not just social, but both, and then also hint at what automation can do once you generate that lead through that source. Also, isolating the competitors was a big thing here because of the national approach. We had to look at both the individual location plus the overall national brand. And the main takeaway from this that I like is the low-hanging fruit that we found. There are absolutely services that are offered by this company that might not just be generic like plumbing. There's specialty services, there's B2C, and there's also commercial and B2B. So there's a few different things here that we're going to be taking a look at. So first and foremost, let me get started on the SEO component. So the first thing I wanted to point out is with search and Google, it's really the foundation for any company. How the company's website describes its products are really like the foundational pieces of what that company does. So how a website appears in search can be very reflective of the overall business's ability to drive traffic and be competitive in the market. The one thing I wanted to go into before we dive into the keywords is the actual setup with Google Ads and the experience so far that has been non-beneficial performance-wise. And I wanted to explain why that is. So the Google Ads campaign that was originally set up for this business, it did not have the correct setup at all in Google. There are two pathways Google tries to push people through. The one that most new Google setup users use is the done for you or done with you campaign setup through Google. That campaign system that it uses maximizes your spend. It does not maximize your performance because it's Google's. Google wants you to spend money, so they don't mind if you show ads for things that are irrelevant. What you'll see too is something that I find extremely frustrating, and everyone else in the industry that works on this does too, is that when you build manually from scratch, bottom up, every single setting, every single item, keyword, ad, everything, you have complete control over not just what you can adjust in order to make it perform more, but you also have full data. So the biggest red flag for me, and I would absolutely pause the Google Ads campaign until this is fixed, is move things over to the manual build system so that you have full control. Right now, this system is showing ads for a lot of irrelevant terms, a lot of DIY terms, and there is actual spend going towards searches for people that really are not looking for a service provider. So that's like, it just says, I didn't dive through every single keyword because we have our own keyword report that we're about to go through that's going to be way more sufficient And that's a part of one of the resources in this report that you have access to now, is a full breakdown, literally service by service. What we did, funny enough, I'll hop in here and explain, is we went to the services page and we pulled an individual report for every single service, commercial and residential, because we wanted to see out of all of these, where are we coming in at as far as the cost per click goes, the level of competition, and most importantly, the search volume. Out of all of these, I mean, people think of plumbing, I need a plumber. But there's all of these different individual things that somebody who has a more understanding or acute knowledge of their problem are able to look for in order to help. And some of these are commercial versus residential. You'll get more of one or the other. So I thought that it was very interesting to see that the original campaign ran like that, because it should not have. But in reality, Google's pushing people towards this system because Google wants people to launch ads. And the manual system is, I mean, for us, we love it because we do it every day. But to train someone on how to use Google Ads is not an easy journey. It's a lot easier to teach someone how to put together a clever social ad. With Google Ads, you're doing things in bulk. You're bidding on thousands of keyword variations, and all of the ads that match those keyword variations have to make contextual sense to the person who's doing that search, or you're going to lose that traffic to your competitor anyways. Another thing I wanted to point out about this build is Google doesn't pull the campaign data into its own system, which is extremely suspicious. And I've personally complained directly to Google Chat Support about this because I thought something was broken. But as you can see here, this is all time for RooterMan of Muncie. It shows 0 search terms in the actual Google report where we can take things and pull it apart further. So I highly recommend, if you're going to run Google Ads ever, never do the done with you or done for you ad launches, because it really sets a lot of businesses up to fail. And it's upsetting, because there's a lot of businesses that would greatly benefit from a proper Google Ad system, and Google's approach is to get people on the system easier, not better. So that's, without me going into any more of that, that's that. Another thing too that I really wanted to point out, about, I'd say 60 to 70% of the search term traffic from the campaign, which again, understandably, knowing that it wasn't the best campaign and it wasn't working, that's one of the reasons why we're doing this report. But understanding inside of what it wasn't working, what did occur. So what you end up having is 2 types of searches when it comes to any contracting space, because there's people who will hire a contractor and there's people who do it themselves. So the do-it-yourself audience is highly research driven. They'll do a dozen searches. So that means every search that they do, you're getting an ad triggered if what they're searching for is a keyword that you're bidding on in the auction, even if that search is irrelevant. So I'll say that one more time in short. Not everyone searching for a keyword is looking to do business with you. You have to understand the semantic search keyword that people are searching when they're looking to hire. Service, company, best, top, experts, near me, nearby. Terms that trigger somebody who has an interest in local versus just an interest in general. And that's very important. One thing I wanted to point out here is drain snaking. That's a very specific plumber service. What you can see is that we actually have plumbers located in this search result in the maps. This is not the ads. This is just organic. The main thing is this was the top result on that same exact page. It's instructions, instruction manuals, how to snake a drain. And this is teaching people how to snake a drain. It's not teaching people how to call a contractor to get their drain snaked. So that's the semantic twist that can come back and forth if you just try to go after specific keywords. You really have to look at the context of what someone's searching for when they want to do business with you, and only bid on that when it comes to paid ads, as an example. What I wanted to highlight is the use case of this content and how we can take advantage of it if and when this was something that we would be doing. Honestly, I would steer all content to emphasizing the pain point or the impending problem that can come with letting a leak go unfixed, mold remediation. If you don't fix a leak, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And it's actually kind of funny to see the scale of expense go like this, not just on having to do the additional work, but you can actually see that in the search keywords, the type of damage that can come from an ongoing leak, the service providers that provide those fixes. As people start to search and they say like, oh, leak with mold as an example, more expensive. So not getting that done early is important. So I would steer the content around that. In the essence of this example, something that is DIY, eliminate it from anything that you're bidding on in the auction on the Google search side. For SEO, you could build content in a blog post fashion as to like what someone would look for DIY, and then frame the content as problem, agitation, the solution is you can do it yourself, but hiring a local expert's the safest way to do it, because if you don't, all these other problems can happen. And then on the social ads component for organic content, people are more likely to share something that's helpful or a tip or a guide organically. Business just saying we do business, you're not going to get as much engagement because at that point you're just talking at people, not with them. So with the social ads, you can actually use that passive content to bring people in, and then anybody who engages, you can retarget. And we're going to get into retargeting a lot more here shortly.